Hello and welcome to the Gabba for the first of the Wide World of Sports televised cricket matches for season 1992-93. And it's a welcome to a new sponsor in cricket. We have the Mercantile Mutual Cup, and this is the match South Australia versus Queensland. Craig McDermott bowling the second ball of the morning. Greg Blewett is on strike for South Australia. Well, this is not the first of the games for the season. That was played last night, and it was Victoria against Western Australia, and the very powerful Western Australian side winning that match convincingly by a margin of 10 wickets in Perth. And looking at the teams here, South Australia, well, they have one unfortunate problem. That's their captain. Jamie Siddons is out for this match, and the side is being captained by Tim May, the former Australian off-spinner. Blewett not able to get it through the gully there. So just looking at the South Australian lineup, Greg Blewett and Noel Filkey are the two opening batsmen out there. At number 3, James Brayshaw, Glenn Bishop, Peter Sleep, Joe Scuderi, all the experience there in the middle order. Tim Nilsson, the wicketkeeper, then the acting captain, Tim May, Peter Gladigo, Paul Hutchison, who used to live just a few streets away from the Gabba, now playing for South Australia, David Clark, and the 12th man is David Ratossa. South Australia won the toss, and Tim May has decided to bat first. The Queensland side, they have a new captain as well this season. It's Ian Healy, the Australian wicketkeeper. In batting order, Trevor Barsby, Matthew Hayden, Peter Goggin, Stuart Law, Alan Border, Steve Story, then Ian Healy, Craig McDermott, Mike Kasprowicz, who had such a good tour with the Australian youth side in England, Dirk Taselaar back from injury, and Carl Rackemann. The 12th man is Darren Kingdon. So Healy, the keeper, will be captaining Queensland, having taken over from Carl Rackemann. McDermott looking very fit and bowling right on line there. The weather, well, it's a magnificent day here at the Gabba, and we're expecting it to stay that way. They're looking at a maximum of around about 25 degrees, and the forecast is fine with light southwesterly breezes. Certainly is a perfect day for cricket here. An early start, it's 9:03 local time. And Craig McDermott starts the season with a maiden to Greg Blewett. All right, let's go up to the commentary box now, where we have Tony Greig.
A good summer's cricket. Dirk Taselaar is going to open the bowling from the Vulture Street end. He'll be bowling to Noel Filkey.
It's a good shot. So that's a good way to start. Right into the gap on the offside. Noel Filkey there, just placing that one absolutely perfectly. Nice outfield here, good wicket too. A little peep at it this morning. Lovely and dry, normal looking Gabba wicket.
Taselaar, very experienced. Left-hander, offers a bit more variation to the attack.
Well, that's a good shot too, beautifully placed, and that'll hit the fence. Just a bit short there from Taselaar, and away it went into the gap at backward point. Straight down to the boundary. So after a maiden by McDermott, Taselaar taking just a little bit of a hammer in his first over.
Taselaar, perhaps a little bit nervous, a little bit rusty. Just a fraction short. The wicket here at the Gabba, a very good one. Very good one-day wicket.
Well, Queensland is their new captain, and Ian Chappell caught up with him as well this morning.
Ian, congratulations on the appointment. You're looking forward to the captaincy?
Yeah, I think so. It's a big challenge. We've got a young side for the majority of our season, so it'll be a good test to see if I'm up to it. Yeah.
And what about these targets at the ground in the Mercantile Mutual? What do you like on the straight drive, mate?
Well, you'd know better than me. I'm not too flash straight of the wicket, but that's the first I've ever heard of one. So I haven't heard
Beautifully taken, outside edge, and Stuart Law takes the catch there, and unfortunately blew it out for a duck. Good catch, Greg.
Some good bowling here as well, Tony. Craig McDermott bowls a very good line at the best of times, but just outside off stump, not much movement. Greg Blewett committed to play the shot, and Stuart Law at first slipped very safe, very comfortable. He'll be happy to have his first catch of the season under the belt. Greg Blewett, unfortunately, not quite so successful. South Australia 1 for 7.
Welcome back. It's James Brayshaw out there now. He's the new batsman, playing for South Australia, having started his career in Western Australia. He's a right-hand batsman, and he's out there because of the dismissal of Greg Blewett.
Greg Blewett just playing a little bit wide of off stump. Anxious to get his bat on ball. He hadn't had much success in the first over against McDermott's good bowling. A good start here for Queensland.
Another good over, that one from Craig McDermott. So they've lost a wicket now. It's 1 for 7. I'll be trying to see to it that the Mercantile Mutual targets certainly aren't hit while he's bowling. That's a good shot. Oh, Fielke playing very well and well fielded down there at third man as well. McDermott moving very quickly to his left.
Craig McDermott again showing his great athleticism in the field, covering a lot of ground around the boundary. Brilliant piece of stopping, but then he's up to his feet and a great return. Ian Healy alongside the stumps. So
South Australia won the toss. Blewett is out. He was out for a duck after using up 10 balls. Fielke's playing well out there. Only 13 balls faced by him. He scored 9, and Brayshaw, James Brayshaw, is with him. This is Fielke on strike. Oh, that one beats the outside edge. A good ball from McDermott. He's bowling a lovely line. He's already got the 1 wicket to have fallen, and this was a good ball too.
Fielke has done most of his batting at the far end. First time he's come up against Craig McDermott. Welcome to the crease there. Lovely line, a little bit of movement away from the left-hander. Craig McDermott starting the season off in very good form.
Well played. Yes, that $10,000 bonus for hitting the target.
Doesn't allow him to play from the back foot. Minimal forward movement with that front foot.
That's his third maiden. Very good bowling by Craig McDermott. And South Australia remain 1 for 10.
New South Wales, so he hasn't had a lot of batting, and it's a total of 7 runs in his 3 innings in limited over matches. The change in the format this year will give the first-class cricketers in Australia some more opportunities.
That's into the gap. Very nicely played. So he's off the mark, and the outfield quite quick here. The ball into the fence. The Gabba's one of the smaller grounds in Australia. And the outfield here is normally very good. And if you can get it through the field, this is what happens.
Dirk Tasselar suffering again from being just a little bit too short, a little bit too wide. James Brayshaw jumping onto that one. Tasselar has struggled to get him.
Rackemann's fielding it mid-off. Have a shot at the stumps. Yeah, that could be out. Yes, he's got him. He's outrun out. Good bit of fielding there. Umpire Peter Parker deciding very quickly that the batsman was out of his ground. Barsby picked the ball up, had a shot at the stumps. Down they went. Very good fielding.
Well, one-day cricket, you have to take these sort of risks. Barsby very quick onto the ball, and a great throw. So direct hit generally brings the positive result, and this time Peter Parker in very good position. James Brayshaw very unlucky. South Australia 2 for 16.
Well, they've lost their second wicket, South Australia. Peter Sleep is the new batsman. He's down at the non-striker's end. And to take up commentary now, it's going to be Ian Chappell, and with him is Greg Ritchie.
Thank you, Anthony. And good morning all. Peter Sleep has been elevated in the order. He was listed to come in at 5, but they've sent him in at number 4. Very experienced player, Peter Sleep. And Noel Filkey has been the one South Australian batsman who has looked reasonably comfortable. Boundary there to Filkey takes South Australia along to 20 after 8 overs. Dirk Taslar, the man being punished there for that short delivery outside off stump. And it's a good morning to former Queensland and Australian batsman Greg Ritchie.
Good morning, Ian. Good morning, everyone. This is a very good piece of fielding by Trevor Barsby here. Direct hit. And Jamie Brayshaw run out there.
South Australia 2 for 20 after 9 overs. Oh, beautiful bowling. Right through the gate. Might have just moved back a little bit off the seam, but good reward there for Dirk Taslar.
That was an excellent piece of bowling by Dirk Taslar, the one he brings back into the left-hander. And Filkey just leaving a little gap there between bat and pad, and a wicket for Dirk Taslar, and he's very happy about it. So South Australia 3 for 20 and in a little bit of trouble.
South Australia in a lot of trouble here at the Gabba in this Mercantile Mutual Cup match. Glenn Bishop coming out to join Peter Sleep. Glenn Bishop, who's played a bit of his cricket as an opening bat. But today he's batting at number 5. Most of the experience in the South Australian side is in the middle order. Got Sleep and Bishop out there, both very experienced players. Joe Scuderi is listed to follow, Tim Nielsen. So a lot of experience in the middle order, and they're going to need it. 3 for 20 after 9 and a bit overs. Dirk Taslar, who's struggled with injury, making his comeback here, and he'll be delighted to get a wicket under his belt.
Dirk Taslar's had some terrible problems with his back over the years, and he's done a lot of work on it in the last 18 months to get it right. And it's great for Queenslanders to see him back playing cricket once again. He's taken a lot of wickets before he had the problem, and I think there's still a few left in the old fella yet. In Perth, and managed to win 1 game, and that was a one-day game only about 3 years ago. It was never a happy hunting ground for Queensland.
Beautiful bowling from Craig McDermott, and Peter Sleep walks. Had a bit of a look at the umpire and then left. Once again, it was the magnificent line by Craig McDermott that got the batsman into trouble.
Just the slightest feather there. That's a magnificent piece of bowling from Craig McDermott. Just leaving Peter Sleep slightly, and Peter Sleep on his way back to the pavilion.
Joe Scuderi is the new man at the crease. Former Queenslander. A couple of them in the South Australian side today. Hutchison is a young man who lives just down the road from the Gabba, and he's playing for South Australia. Joe Scuderi actually went to the Cricket Academy in Adelaide and decided to stay and play with South Australia. Joe Scuderi, aged 23. There's a bit of a tug-of-war going on in the early days between Queensland and South Australia to get the services of Joe Scuderi. Beautiful bowling. I would imagine Queensland would have been sorry to lose him, Greg.
They certainly were. Joe came up through the schoolboy ranks for Queensland, and I think was always earmarked as a Sheffield Shield player. And to lose him to South Australia disappointed a lot of people up here. However, we're pleased to see him doing reasonably well and playing Shield cricket in South Australia, and I think he has a lot more aspirations, and if he can keep it going, he's got a big chance of playing for Australia in the future.
So Rackemann is the man at mid-off. There's really no reason for Ian Healy not to keep McDermott going, because he's got the man who just chased that ball, Carl Rackemann, plenty of experience. So he's got him in reserve. He's got young Michael Kasprowicz, who's quite a lively young bowler. Well, McDermott still steaming in and bowling extremely well. Good bounce in this pitch. McDermott really has been an excellent spell. Beautiful bowling. Maiden number 5 from Craig McDermott. Over the top for 4. It's the way Glenn Bishop tends to play. He'll have a good dash at the ball outside off stump.
It's probably not such a bad tactic at this stage. I think Bishop realises that someone has really got to try and take the bowling, take it up to the bowlers at this stage. He probably fancies his chances against Rackemann more than the others. Not a bad tactic at all, and if he has a bit of luck, a couple go over the slips, a few go out over the top of the outfield, it'll take a bit of the pressure off.
Rackemann just a little bit short at the moment.
That's a very good piece of fielding by Matthew Hayden in the outfield.
England 11, taking a bundle of wickets. He was accused of picking the seam. So he's in pretty good company. Obviously the English press have been hard at work with Wazim Akram and Waqar Yunus, accusing them of doing all sorts of things to the ball. Bob Massey, you can...
Back. South Australia won the toss. 4 for 36 is the score at the moment. And as you can see there, Fielke and Blewett opened the batting for the South Australians. They decided to bat first, and the first wicket to fall was that of Greg Blewett. We'll watch that in a minute as Rackemann moves in, having had a bit of a drink at the drinks break. Going back for the second. This will be close. The question asked, but he was comfortably home. When I say comfortably home, perhaps home by 6 inches.
I think Glenn Bishop really had to put in the big ones there. Not really known as a greyhound between the wickets is Bish.
Yes, he looked pretty safe there. The throw just a little wide. Healy had to bring it down. Again, the direct hit may have resulted in a run out. Rackemann again. It's just get back to the batting card. First wicket to fall was that of Greg Blewett. He was caught by Law at first slip off the bowling of McDermott, who bowled absolutely superbly.
Lovely delivery from Craig. Greg Blewett really caught in no man's land, and a comfortable catch for Stuart Law. When I say comfortable, he made it look very much that way.
So that is an early blow for the South Australians, which he doesn't often do. And he was caught by Healy. This is how it happened. The big nick there through the keeper, and no problems at all for the Australian wicketkeeper taking that catch. And the total at that stage on 22, so 2-2 per over. I think I might want to be on the fielding side at the moment. Well, he's trying to hit that one away, and he's been given out LBW. Well, that looked to me as if just angling in a little bit. Scuderi out. Umpire Timmins there deciding that was going to hit the leg stump. It'd be interesting to have a look at this replay.
I think fairly adjacent. Not really a shot Joe would be terribly proud of. As usual, you talk about great deeds that he could do with a bat, and of course he gets out next ball. 5 for 41.
Pushed away quietly. The new batsman out there is Timothy John Nielsen. Tim Nielsen, 24 years of age, and that's his track record so far. Strike rate of 40.3 runs per 100 balls. And you can see his highest score there against Tasmania. Toured Zimbabwe in the season of 91-92. And was in fact born in London. Back for the second and comfortably home again. Well, the reason that Tim Nielsen's out there is because of this shot by Joe Scuderi.
Really not the shot I think the ball deserved, and Joe Scuderi paying the penalty for playing across the line. Michael Kasprowicz delighted at that, his first wicket for the season.
So I think Scuderi probably had a glance up the scoreboard and thought, well, there's no point in just blocking this out one way or the other. We've got to take an initiative here. 4 down for 40 odd. Overs disappearing very quickly. This is over number 20.
Card.
Almost taken in the gully.
Steve Story, the fieldsman in the gully, wearing glasses this season. Obviously picked the ball up quite well off the bat, just out of reach. Very good gully fielder normally, Steve Story. If he couldn't get a hand on it, then very few would.
Nice shot from Glenn Bishop. It's the way he likes to play the game. He's not frightened to hit the ball over the infield.
Glenn Bishop, the autograph on drive, the autograph lofted on drive. It is a shot which he enjoys. If there's anyone in this competition that can pick up the prize for hitting the Mercantile Mutual sign on the boundary, Glenn Bishop is the man. A target just to the left of the sight screen at both ends of the big Carl Rackemann doing the bowling from the Vulture Street end.
Rackemann has tended to be a little short outside off stump, and he's paid for it. Best over for South Australia. It takes them along to 5 for 54. Bishop and Nielsen, the hopes for South Australia. Nielsen has played very well particularly in Shield cricket for South Australia, made a lot of runs. That's an excellent shot. Bishop at the other end, starting to play quite well, hitting 2 boundaries in that last over off the bowling of Carl Rackemann. There's not a lot more to come, although Tim May has he's improved his batting. Just wide of Ian Healy. Beautiful delivery from Dirk Taslar. Angled across the right-hander. Got the edge, but no first slip.
Ian Healy covers a lot of ground behind the stumps, but just a little too wide for him. It was a regulation catch just to the right hand of the regulation first slip. Fieldsman, really too much to ask the wicketkeeper to take those.
He was on his way, but unfortunately Story was, as I say, allowing for the bad bounce, and it didn't come. That'll cost him probably 3. Bishop coming back for the 3rd. So it's 5 for 76, South Australia, after 29 overs.
Yes, it certainly has been a good partnership. This is the last over from the Bolter Street end for Taslar. That one smacked away into the gap. Lovely shot again, showing that quick outfield. Rackemann doing the chasing, but there was no way he was going to latch onto that one. Right off the meat of the bat. Good shot, Greg.
A very fine shot, that, from Mr. Nielsen. He's playing very well, and these two are starting to put something together for South Australia at the moment, causing just a little worry for Ian Healy.
Run rate so far.
That's a lovely shot from Glenn Bishop, beating Alan Border at point. It's going to have to be quick here. 3 runs to Glenn Bishop. Lovely shot off the back foot.
Yes, that'll help the run rate. Nice placement there, just wide of the fieldsman. Just a little bit of a touch to the end of the fingers there, resulted in the ball not quite getting to the boundary. 33 overs. Bishop and Nielsen putting together a good partnership against this Queensland attack. Lovely career ground, this one. I shall never forget it. During the 74-5 series test match here, when we first bumped into Thompson and Lilly. Greg Ritchie, it's a pleasure having you youngsters with us on the commentary team these days. Where we
was very difficult to
nicely played. A couple of runs from that shot off the back foot.
as we played in the rubber-soled shoes, and I think you develop a technique batting in rubbers where...
And no problems for Healy, really. Scuderi was the next to go. He was out LBW, trying to heave that one over the mid-wicket fence. I think getting a little frustrated he was. He was out for 4.
Very well fielded there by Peter Goggin in the covers. He's an excellent fielder, Peter Goggin, one of the better fielders in the Sheffield Shield cricket scene, and certainly in the Mercantile Mutual scene.
Absolutely perfected the art of making it do that. Doesn't do it straight away. Apparently it takes a while. And of course they've got some very fast bowlers, and if they can make the ball swing at high pace, they're very difficult to handle. They'll be here later in the season. I'll keep an eye on them. Well played. Flicking that one away down a fine leg.
Glenn Bishop's doing a terrific job for South Australia here.
Balls. He has the strike. And they've moved a mid-off back now to cover that straight hit, just in case. And so what does he do? He just whips it past the backward point fieldsman there, and the sweeper comes into action. He's going to have to move. Healy takes the bails off, but they've got themselves 3. Good running.
It's a very good piece of cricket all round there. Fine running and a good piece of fielding from Stuart Law. He's got a strong arm, and that one right beside the stumps. Good cricket all round.
On 20, and they really have rescued South Australia from a dire position at 5 for 41.
That'll be 4 runs there. It's the slash over where the slip fieldsman would normally be. Carl Rackemann giving too much width there.
Most productive area in one-day cricket. Down through the third-man region.
The South Australian run rate moved up over 3 for the first time in the 37th over. Did the early damage for Queensland. Bishop and Nielsen. It's in the air. There's a fieldsman down there. He moves well. A sweep shot. Steve Story has taken the wicket. Craig McDermott, the fieldsman, down at fine leg, backward square leg for the sweep shot. What a great athlete he is. Again, the safe hands.
The sweep from Tim Nielsen, straight to Craig McDermott. He's got a very good pair of hands. And really that was a wicket that South Australia did not want to lose just when they were starting to get back into this game. Tim Nielsen, a fine knock considering the circumstances, 34.
6 for 120. Peter Gladigo is the new batsman for South Australia. Steve Story took his first wicket in limited over matches for Queensland. He's missing Tim Nielsen, so Gladigo comes on strike. This is how Nielsen was dismissed.
Peter Gladigo, only 29 runs in his 16 one-day match.
He's bowled 9 overs for 42, so he's been fairly expensive. Taslar 10 overs for 46. McDermott and Kasprowicz have been the best bowlers.
And that's a great shot from Glenn Bishop. Really has grown in confidence as his innings has progressed. Somewhat of an enigma over his career. I think he's always promised much greater things than he's actually achieved.
Very strong from the back foot, Glenn Bishop. That's much too short from Michael Kasprowicz. Glenn Bishop very strong. Props onto the front foot, but very quickly pushes onto the back foot. 40 overs gone. South Australia are 6 for 126, so the last 10 overs. Very important for them. That's bowled in, and Bishop trying to get on with the game. Use the last 10 overs, pulling away and trying to hit Steve Story over mid-wicket. Steve Story has picked up his second wicket for the innings and his second in limited over matches for Queensland.
A little bit too full to be trying that shot and hurrying through, and Glenn Bishop bowled middle stump. A fine innings from Glenn Bishop, 63. Off 95 deliveries, so that's a good scoring rate considering the circumstances. 7 for 126.
David Clark is the new batsman for South Australia, right-hand batsman, right-arm fast bowler. Son of Graham Clark, who played for South Australia as a left-arm medium fast bowler in the 60s. David Clark is out there to replace Glenn Bishop.
It's certainly not what South Australia wanted. Glenn Bishop, their best hope of getting a testing score.
Steve Story's done quite a good job for Queensland today. He's the fifth bowler in the lineup. Two very important wickets at a time when South Australia were trying to accelerate the run rate. Bit of bounce there again.
Just a little bit of bounce there for Steve Story. Really has been a great spell of bowling from Story.
A little bit of width there. David Clark unable to make contact. Had the right idea. There's a lot of room down there at third man.
Tailenders really got the job in front of them. I'm surprised.
Very keen to get on with it. Very fit, very strong. Bowling with great rhythm and good line. It's in the air. Peter Goggin, very good attempt there in the covers. Diving forward. I think he's just got the hands to it, but couldn't hang on to it.
Agonisingly short of Goggin. He made a very good effort and not quite able to hold on to it.
Things about the ball. A lot of good batting wickets in Pakistan. And they came up with this theory of... Watch that one go through the gap on the offside. There's a sweeper down there, so they'll have to settle for 2. Yes, this business of dabbing sweat on one side of the ball and trying to upset the balance of the ball a bit. Having said that, I used to pick up plenty of cricket balls in the kit box. It's good to see McDermott back out there. It'd be dreadful if he injured himself at this stage in the season. Oh, that's an edge, and it's flying away down to the boundary. First slip would have taken that, no trouble at all, but in these matches at this stage, it's not often that you see a first slip in position, and that one went flying in that direction.
Well, something the batsman couldn't do in the early overs. Craig McDermott's first 7 overs only cost him 2 runs. And Scuderi, all the rest of the partnerships or completed ones have been in single figures. It's well run.
Score moves on to 144 now. Apart from the fact that the Mercantile Mutual Cup is now of inside edge, some very interesting articles. Always bowled in. Well, it was right up there. He went hit it square on the offside, stepping away a little bit. You see that quite often in one-day cricket. Give himself a bit of room there, and whack, down goes the middle leg.
That's very accurate bowling by Michael Kasprowicz. And he now has 2 wickets. South Australia are 8 for 144. Tim May is the acting captain for South Australia in this match. He's improved his batting quite a lot. Made a Shield 100 last season. And Ian Healy obviously feeling that one hit the pad before it hit the bat.
Yes, there was a bit of a double noise, but not very often that you see umpires giving those out. Seemed to be a fair bit of bat in that too. That one going off the inside edge, perhaps onto the pad, or vice versa, and then straight out on the offside.
In that spell, the last one being Gladigo.
Yes, he did well here, kept it right up, realised the batsman was getting a little frustrated, and that was good bowling. Ball hitting leg stump. And that was the end of Gladagau. So that's the situation. South Australia having won the toss to make. So those are his figures in this match. This is his last over of the innings.
That brings up the 150 for South Australia.
Nice straight throw here, and watch Heatley just letting it hit the stumps. Just in case the batsman was dozing. He was. South Australian innings, they won the toss. And their captain is on strike.
Right into the gap between the man at deep square leg and a fine leg. There's some valuable runs coming from this last over.
Yes, that was nicely picked up. Ball just a little bit straight, flicked away on the leg side in the air. They've got two men back behind square. So they were able to cut off the fall, but it was nicely placed.
He's aimed at the sign, the Mercantile Mutual sign. He was right on line, just about 10 metres short. 10 metres short. There was $1,000 in each one of those metres that he was short. Well, in fact, there was $2,000 because it's $20,000 for hitting the sign.
Yes, well, we're right in line just behind that sign, and for a second I thought that it was going to come straight down and hit the middle of it, but he didn't quite middle it. Absolute perfect line it was.
This time Tim May goes over mid-wicket. So the South Australian innings is completed, and they've batted out the innings, or the overs, which is important. Tim May has a wistful glance at the scoreboard. And some valuable runs there from May and Clark at the end. David Clark, son of a former South Australian player and teammate of mine many years ago, Clacker Clark. He's a bit skinnier than his old man, a bit taller and a bit skinnier. But Clacker was a great competitor. Let's hope that David has inherited his competitiveness.
Clacker.
They had a partnership of 79. That early batting was demolished by McDermott with some assistance from Taslar and a direct hit there from Trevor Barsby. So 8 for 158 off 50 overs for South Australia. David Clark remaining 13 not out, Tim May 9 not out. And the bowling, well, the star of the Queensland bowling attack was Craig McDermott. 7 overs, 5 maidens, 2 for 2 his first spell. They really got to him in that last spell. He finished with 2 for 12 from 10 overs. Taslar 1 for 46, Rackemann none for 52. Kasprowicz also did a good job, 2 for 17. And Story bowled quite accurately with his left arm orthodox spin, 2 for 28. 8 extras, 3 leg byes, 5 no balls and no wides. So very good in 159 runs at 3.18 per over. So join us. And at the non-striker's end, it's Matthew Hayden. So South Australia will be defending that target, and a tough task it'll be for South Australia. A little underdone. They've had a lot of rain in Adelaide and not much cricket at all for the South Australians. In fact, they had to...
Their first innings, Trevor Barsby, the right-hand batsman, facing Matthew Hayden as the left-hander, who's at the non-striking end. Brilliant debut season for Queensland last season. Strong, powerful left-hand batsman. He's had an off-season in England. Believe it or not, he's dropped a little bit of weight while he was away. He's a very strongly built young man. Very impressive cricketer. Queensland are off in their chase of the 159 required. 2 runs to Trevor Barsby. What should be a fairly easy target for Queensland, but South Australia will know if they can take some early wickets and put some pressure on. Isn't for Queensland last year. There are his figures for limited over matches for Queensland, 65 being his highest score. Likes to play his shots, Trevor Barsby. He's a better player when he does play his shots. That's a natural way for him to play. Got a good eye. Made his debut for Queensland last season, just a few days after his 20th birthday. Had a very good season. As David said earlier, over 1,000 runs in his first season, averaging 54. Good bit of swing there as well, but Matthew Hayden this time getting bat on ball. Plays it pretty straight. Very strong player, straight down the ground, Matthew Hayden. Matthew was the first player to score 1,000 runs in a debut season in first-class cricket. That was one of the shots that we saw him play many times last season. He debuts Sheffield Shield season, so it was a very impressive first up season. The young man born in Kingaroy. That's another good shot. And that was where, again, we saw him score a lot of runs last year, off the hip. Beautifully timed, very firmly hit without a great deal of effort.
The feature here was the timing. You know, he really just tucked it away off the hip, and that raced to the boundary.
It's a shot that only good players tend to be able to look as effortless as that. Very compact.
And a few people got in his ear and said, you can't play like that. And next couple of years went into his shell a bit, but he's back playing his natural attacking game.
Yes, he is a naturally attacking player, and I agree. It's the sort of way he should play. He needed to temper it a little bit, pick the right balls to play his shots. But to try and turn someone with that natural ability and natural aggression in them into a defensive player is not going to do them any good. And reasonably tightly, bowled reasonably tightly. One very good appeal for LBW from Hutchison to Matthew. It's in the air, but it's through the gap. Trevor Barsby generally gets them to the boundary. If he picks the gap, he's usually hit them hard enough to get there.
It was in the air for some time, but as Greg said, hit with a lot of power, and never a doubt that that was going straight to the boundary.
It's quite a few shots in the air, Trevor Barsby. As long as you pick the gap, it's fine. Does it with a great deal of power. That's in the air, he's gone. Caught it slip. Just a little bit of movement, but perhaps just a bit wide of off stump. Paul Hutchison makes the breakthrough that South Australia were looking for, and Trevor Barsby is on his way back to the pavilion.
And good reward for Paul Hutchison. He's just tightened up the last couple of overs, and Peter Sleep gleefully accepting the catch.
So Queensland losing their first wicket. Trevor Barsby is out for 6. Queensland 1 for 18. Peter Goggin faces his first ball, batting at number 3, and he was there to replace Trevor Barsby.
Trevor just playing a little bit away from his body, and the edge to Peter Sleep, and that's just what South Australia needed.
Australia lost early on. South Australia lost 2 then very quickly after that. Slower ball. Hayden waits on that one. Good placement and very good timing. Peter Goggin very quick between the wickets. Matthew Hayden also Not slow, so 3 runs picked up there from a good bit of placement, a good bit of timing. We see on the collision. Matthew Hayden brings up another boundary for Queensland. Queensland now moves along to 1 for 26. Matthew Hayden goes to 15, just short and wide of off stump. Hayden very strong in that area. And he picks the gap, but gets the timing very well also. Paul Hutchison not able to move around fast enough. But moving into the commentary position.
One though, so Hayden has strike. 16 he scored. 1 for 30, Queensland. Into the slot again, and into the gap on the offside. Didn't quite hit that one, but it will get to the boundary. So 4 more to Hayden. He's taking it to South Australia.
There's a lovely shot there by Matthew Hayden. Right onto the front foot, right beside the ball. Doesn't quite get the timing right, but picks the gap very nicely, and it races across the ground. You can't bowl there to Matthew Hayden. You can't pitch the ball up and outside his off stump. He's very, very strong. He's a lovely driver of the ball. This sort of batting from Peter Goggins not going to be suiting certainly himself, but certainly not Matthew Hayden at all. He likes to rotate the strike a bit more.
It's a good shot. Very well played. The shot that Greg Ritchie used to play very well. Very quickly onto the back foot there. Nicely executed, Greg.
That was a lovely shot, and as I mentioned before, right under the back foot, making a lot of room and hoisting that one over mid-wicket, just in front of square leg. Very fine shot, and that'll relieve some of the pressure off these two. I think they were starting to fill it a little bit. Some tight bowling there from South Australia. Just mentioned before, Matthew Hayden is a sort of player that likes to rotate the strike, and in fact, when he's going, likes to have a fair bit of the strike himself. So Goggs will do well to move it around a little bit. By rotating the strike, they put the pressure back on these bowlers.
Goes back for the second. Good running. May not very happy. He's out at the square leg, captaining this side. He's set a field really which is orientated to the offside, and I think he's a little unhappy that the bowler pitched
I
that
can
one.
get the line correct on this occasion to the right-hander. That's a very good shot by Peter Goggin. Just works that one down through the gully area to third man. 1 run. It's 1 for 50.
Gallagher about to start his 4th over, and to take up commentary now it's going to be Ian Chappell, and with him his brother Greg.
Thank you, Anthony, and what a nice shot. Certainly pleasure to walk into the commentary box moments like that. Young Matthew Hayden's played a couple of very fine shots off his pads today.
There haven't been very many aggressive shots played today. I'd suggest that perhaps the Gabba wicket is a little bit slower, or not quite coming onto the bat as much as you would imagine, just looking at the wicket from a distance, as the batsmen have struggled to get on top of the ball today. Around the leg side, a couple of square on the offside.
That's a nice shot also.
Peter Goggins, a real worker of the ball, tends to be a little bit bottom hand, gets the extra bit of power from just putting the right hand into the shot as he makes contact. You'll see that here in the replay of this on drive, just whips it away with that bottom hand through the gap. See the right hand just come into the shot as he whips it away on the leg side. He's pretty sure then by that stage that the ball's gone to the boundary.
Tim May is fighting them nicely. So Goggin decides that over the top is the best method.
Very busy player, Peter Goggin. Likes to get on with the game. He's always moving. Tried to get down the wicket to Tim May early in the over, and this time decided to go down and go over the top. Didn't quite time the ball. Cleared the infield, and 2 runs resulted.
And that was probably the reward for the footwork earlier in the over. Coming down the track to Tim May, and he forced the bowler to pitch just a little short.
Good cricketer, Peter Goggin. He's struggled to force his way into this Queensland team over the last couple of seasons, but he's stuck with it. He's very good in the field. He works very hard on his cricket. Makes a lot of runs in club cricket.
And back at the Gabba, Queensland have moved along to 75. Tim May really throwing that one up. Certainly one of the pleasing aspects of Goggin's batting has been his desire to get on with the game. The point that Greg just made. He's always looking to do something, whether it be to slap the ball through the field or just push it away for a single. You always like to see a batsman who is interested in moving his score along off every ball. He's moved along to 25. Looking at the Queensland Cricketers Club there. It's been a pretty successful club over the years. And a boundary there to Peter Goggin. Yes, the old Gabba Grill has been a very popular spot, and I noticed they've got the big sign up out the front letting everybody know that they've now got poker machines at the Queensland Cricketers Club.
Very pleasant place to watch cricket from, up on the veranda there, the top deck of the Cricketers Club. Quite a good day.
And that's the equation. They need 75 now with 9 wickets in hand, so he really has to get a wicket or 2. Oh, good shot. Hayden backing away. That was just a little short. And that 4 takes him on to 42. 5 fours in all. Lovely shot.
Yeah, Tim May just dropping a little bit too short. Matt Hayden picked it up very quickly, gave himself a bit of room and put it away nicely. Home ground advantage is exactly that. And West Australia, a very hard side to beat in Perth.
The gap again. They're looking good now, Queensland. He gets the feeling that they have decided that they're going to try and get these runs sooner rather than later.
Especially Peter Goggin, he's really taking the initiative. Not frightened to use his feet against Tim May. He's lofted him several times over the infield. Looks a very busy player. And after a somewhat slow start, 33 off 57 balls, he's accelerating all the time.
That's a good shot. Into the gap at extra cover. And there's not much of a gap there. Perfect placement. One goes flying through the extra cover fence there. Beautifully played by Goggin.
Using his feet to get at the pitch of the ball, and superb placement. And that really did deserve 4 runs.
All Hagen and Goggin. 5 extras. They've brought up the 102. Oh, he's got that one away. Didn't bounce very much. Managed to adjust, and they've got another 2. So 9 runs off that over. 1 for 104.
South Australia would be hoping to finish this match off in a tidy fashion. It's obviously looking up the scoreboard. They're right up against it, but they certainly don't want to drop their bundle, and they want to view what's left in this match positively and go into their next game in a better frame of mind.
That's a good shot. Short delivery, and that's his 50 as well. Absolutely effortlessly pulled away down towards square leg. So Hayden brings up his 50 in fine style. So that's his strike rate, 57.1. Welcome back. Queensland moving ahead now forcefully, and that one over the top of Miron's head. A couple of bounces, in fact a few more than that, into the fence, but he's been waiting to do that for a while. He's eventually plucked up enough courage to do it, and they may even leave the fieldsman back, although I think it's probably too late for that. Good shot, that one, straight down the ground.
It's great to see him use his feet to the spinner, get to the pitch of the ball, and
I think we can quite safely say that Queensland have got this one in the bag. Into the gap again, and starting to find the gaps now as well. And so 3 runs there, 50 to Goggin. So both of them now have made 50 in this, their first limited overs domestic match.
it's been a very impressive innings from Peter Goggin. Very busy little player, as Greg Chappell mentioned earlier, quite similar to his former teammate Dirk Wellham in technique. He really has played very well. There's going to be a few gaps in the Queensland middle order.
Well, that brings up the 100 partnership. Very satisfying for these two. Both of them have made 50. And now they have a 100 partnership to their name. 156 balls for the 100. Out there today in their brand new Mercantile Mutual
TV guide and regular news features. Matthew Hayden continuing along his merry way. Great start to his first-class career last season. A little bit on edge today, starting his second season. A lot of people talking about how difficult it is in the second season. But he's certainly one player who will feature in some of the inside edge editions that will be seen prior to the summer of 1992-93.
Slower ball there. This time Goggin picks the gap beautifully, and that's 4 runs. That's a lovely shot. Slower delivery attempted here by David Clark, and Goggin says thank you very much and puts that one straight through the covers. It's a lovely stroke.
By Peter Sleep from the bowling of Paul Hutchinson.
Very nice delivery that, just leaving Trevor Barsby, and very well taken at first slip there by Peter Sleep. Fine piece of bowling.
So Hutchison is the only successful South Australian bowler so far.
So Tim May trying to vary it a little bit, but he's not having a lot of luck at the moment.
Not hit in the middle of the bat. Matthew Hayden going over the infield. Plenty of room in the outfield, plenty of room in the air for that matter. Queensland going along pretty well. To Gabba. Queensland currently 1 for 137. No real danger here. 9 wickets in hand. 22 runs required. Joe Scuderi bowls the slower ball. Peter Goggin is a little bit confused by the change of pace. Didn't quite know what to do with it in the end. I think he'd like to have another crack at that one.
Very good delivery that by Joe Scuderi, and that one out the back of the hand, which is the best way to bowl the slower delivery. Certainly Simon O'Donnell and Steve Waugh have shown it's been a very useful piece of armoury in the one-day game. For him having played such a good innings here today.
That's bowled him, trying to work it away on the leg side. Peter Gladigo pitching it up. Peter Goggin trying to work him away through the mid-wicket area, and the second wicket falls for Queensland. Peter Goggin, after a very useful innings of 60, has been bowled by Peter Gladigo.
Just have a look at that. Peter Goggin misses that one, trying to whip it over the top of mid-wicket. Just gets a slight deflection of his pads and back onto the stumps. Very fine innings, though, by him. 60 off 97 balls. Very good effort indeed. 2 for 138 on the 31st.
Stuart Law just facing his first ball. 23 years of age, Stuart. Played the 14 matches in limited over competition for Queensland. 224 runs with a higher score of 39 not out versus the Western Australians in 88-89 at the Wacker ground. Average of 28, a strike rate of 64.2. Very promising, one of the promising young batsmen in Australian cricket. And Stuart Law is there to replace Peter Goggin.
Peter Goggin here just looking to whip that one right over mid-wicket, just off the pads, and bowled in. A very good innings by Peter Goggin, an excellent job.
Queensland too many difficulties, provided they got away to a good start, and that they did. Matthew Hayden now looking to want to finish this game as quickly as possible.
Stuart Law again just having trouble with the new cricket boots, falling there. You can see the throw coming in as Law slips and manages to get back. I'm not too sure whether Alan Border will be sitting there in the dressing room enjoying Stewie Law at the moment. Shoulder a lot of the responsibility as far as Queensland's batting goes, so he'll be looking for a good season.
It's in the air, but well over the infield. Won't go to the boundary. So Queensland reducing their runs required with those 3 runs to Stuart Law. Now it's only 14 runs remaining. There are 44 balls remaining, so there's no real pressure there. 8th first birthday and very promising young batsman. It's in the air, and this one's well over the infield. Should go to the boundary. In fact, it will be 4 more runs. We will now be crossing to Sydney race number 6, the Tooheys draft welterhand.
Money from Stall Gift.
Stewie Law getting 2 more runs there. Takes the score along to 157, so two runs required, 39 balls remaining, so there shouldn't be any great problem for Queensland here to 39 balls remaining, so there shouldn't be any great problem for Queensland here to win this match quite convincingly. It's been a pretty good performance by the Queenslanders today. From the time that Tim May elected to bat, Queensland have gone about their work in a very professional manner, and that's the winning runs for Queensland. There's 2 runs to Stewie Law, takes them to 159. 2 for 159. It's been a comprehensive victory here for Ian Healy and his team. Some very good bowling. Ian Healy starts his career as Queensland captain with a win, and a comprehensive win it's been. Stuart Law shaking hands there with the South Australians. Matthew Hayden, another very fine performance from this very promising young opening batsman. Vacancy at the top of the Australian batting order. I think it's perhaps just a little bit early for him at this stage, but if he continues his good form throughout the season, there's every chance that he might get some consideration for higher honours in the not-too-distant future. So we've seen a very impressive performance here. Craig McDermott started the day very well for Queensland with the ball. He got them off to a very good start. The Queenslanders in their chase for 159 lost Trevor Barsby and Peter Goggin. Matthew Hayden, 73 not out. Stuart Law, 10 not out. So we'll be back here at the Gabba in a few moments with the presentations.
20 from 204 balls, and that set up victory for Queensland. They won by 8 wickets, and not much joy there for the South Australians. 1 for 37, Paul Hutchison returning to the area where he grew up, around the Gabba, and Peter Gladigo there with 1 for 33, the other successful bowler for South Australia. All right, let's go down now to the presentation area where we have Tony Greig with the 2 captains.
Thanks very much, Ian. The Australian Cricket Board have allocated $4,000 for this Mercantile Mutual Cup match, and $3,000 goes to the winning captain. Congratulations, Ian Healy. Well played.
Thanks.
Good performance by your side today.
I think so, yeah. We're happy to get off to a win at any time in the season, but, you know, even more pleasing, we had a few injury troubles, and the boys played very well.
What about the toss early this morning, 9 o'clock? Had you won it, what would you have done?
Well, that's immaterial, really. You know, I don't need to say that. You know, I think we used the wicket well early in the morning. Quicks bowled well, and then our batsmen didn't let the batting drift on. We you know, kept the intensity up too. So we're happy.
And this new format, the Mercantile Mutual Cup format, do you think it's a better way to go than the previous 2 tier system?
Yeah, fantastic. I think the whole plan is a good one, because Sheffield Shield cricketers are desperate for more cricket, and it's going to prepare any future Australian players for a much more relevant build-up, because we're asked to play 12 games in an Australian season, so it's much more relevant for Shield players to get a lot more one-day experience, and yeah, you know, it can only be a good step for cricket.
In a situation like today, when you were pretty well coasting at one stage there, do the players actually take a conscious decision to lift the run rate for fear of perhaps finding themselves in a situation level with someone else at the end of the season?
Yeah, I think it's got to come into consideration. If you've got wickets in hand, you can do that. Of course, if you're 6 or 7 down, you can't take any risks with run rates. But you know, this year's competition should see that we're playing each other once, and run rates probably don't come into it. But yeah, it's nice to have a few overs up your sleeve if you can.
Well played today, and congratulations. Good luck in the next one.
Thanks a lot.
Right, thank you very much, Ian Healy. Well, Tim May captained the South Australian side today. Bad luck, Tim. I'll have to ask you the question about the toss as well, or is it irrelevant?
Well, it is now, yeah.
9 o'clock is an early start. They've got quite a good pace attack. Just wondered with hindsight whether you thought that perhaps it mightn't have been a better idea to do it the other way around.
I don't know if the track did too much early. I think just Billy bowled exceptionally well.
He did,
and that was the luck of the draw.
Basically,
Brayshaw got run out, and so it all sort of complicated from then on.
Not enough runs, really.
100 and whatever it was, 60 is never enough in one day, so we got straight.
And your thoughts on this competition?
It's a great opportunity for those fringe Australian players to play more one-day cricket, and for everybody to play more one-day cricket. Normally they only had 2 opportunities a year, which when the Australians played 10 or 15 or whatever it is a year, well, it's not quite good enough for those fringe players.
Over the years, you've been talked of in quite glowing terms as an off-spinner, but you haven't really got many opportunities in one-day cricket. Do you think, from a spinning point of view, does that help you?
It helps me, it helps everyone. It doesn't matter if you're a spinner or a fast bowler or whatever. The more experience you get at some particular level or some particular type of game, well, then the better it is for you.
Well, bad luck today. Good luck in the matches that lie ahead. Plenty of matches still to go, so still in there with a chance.
We'll improve.
Right, well, thank you very much for coming down. Right, well, we have a medal too, a gold medallion, and $1,000 as well for the man of the match. And the man of the match today is Craig McDermott. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Very well bowled.
Yeah, not too bad. First game for the season. So
yes, you looked as if you had a really good rhythm going out there. It's
yeah, I haven't played a lot of cricket since we came back from Sri Lanka. My club team's been batting every Saturday, which hasn't been too bad. But, you know, we've practiced pretty hard and the team's coming together well.
Now, you went off the field there for a little while. It gave us all a bit of a scare, or all of Australia a bit of a scare. You obviously got hold of some gan oil or something and stuck it in between your shoulder blades. It looked if something at the back, or was it?
Yeah, just in the middle of my back, a disc just popped out for a second.
Really?
Just whacked it back in, and away you go.
Does that often happen?
No, it's only happened one other time, so it's no big drama.
Really? Oh well. I hope it doesn't happen again. And
no, it shouldn't do.
Great start to the season, and keep going. Good luck.
Thanks very much, Tom.
Okay, well, thanks for coming down. Well, there we are, Ian. Pretty happy Queensland bunch, and a not so happy South African, South Australian side, but then again, they didn't get enough runs, did they?
Yes, Greggy hasn't been in Australia long enough to distinguish between South Australia and South Africa. All right, there we are, an 8-wicket victory to Queensland, 2 points to them, and they now join Western Australia on 2 points in the competition. We'll be back.
Well, Alan Border, thanks for having a chat with us. Is this your youngster down here?
Yeah, that's Dino. Had his first game of cricket today.
How did you go?
Good.
Make any runs? Make any runs?
Yes.
How many?
4.
Well, you've just had your first interview as well.
Yeah.
Well played.
A bit more than me.
Alan, can I just ask you a few general questions about the summer? First of all, can we just talk about the test matches? You're obviously up against a good attack again. Ambrose is out here, and Bishop sounds as if he's firing.
Yeah. Well, that's always been their strength over the years. They've had this 4-pronged pace bowling attack it's hard to get on top of. And I see that as the major thing this year, that if our batting can get on top of their bowling, that'll go a long way towards beating them. Their batting looks as a little bit more vulnerable than it has done in previous years. So hopefully that's the way the summer goes for us, that we can get on top of this bowling.
You're pleased to see Viv Richards out of the way?
Well, he's been a bit of a thorn on our side for many, many years. Most attacks he has decimated and dominated at various times. So him and Gordon Greenwich just leave a big hole as far as their batting's concerned. Be interested to see how their young fellas cope with it.
So you think you've got the edge, perhaps, as far as the batting's concerned, but they've perhaps got the edge with the bowling?
I see that's going to be how the summer goes. You have to be realistic. They've got 4 very good fast bowlers, and if our batting is not up to it, that'll be where they win the games, with that good fast bowling.
Have you got any firm thoughts at the moment on what's going to happen with the opening batting position?
Not really. I noticed Jeff Marsh got some runs yesterday and a pretty easy win, and young Matthew Hayden got some runs today, both pretty impressive, I suppose. I think if Swampy gets the runs on the board, I think the selectors will go that way, but it just depends on who does what in these early Shield games.
Sure. After the test matches, we've got the Pakistanis flying into town, and so we've got a pretty good competition. That World Series competition is going to be a pretty tough one, probably
Excellent.
The 3 best one-day sides in the world.
Yeah.
They've got some good fast bowlers too, and just before we talk about them, can I just ask you to explain?
Western Australia and Queensland on top, and the net run rate you see there in the far column has Western Australia just on top. The 2 losers, Victoria and South Australia, New South Wales and Tasmania yet to play, although New South Wales will be involved in the game with Western Australia tomorrow, seeing you again many times during the summer season.
Amazing matches, classic catches, Radland pickets, there's nothing like the cricket. No other game moves you the same, reaches inside, it stirs up your pride. The best are on show, you just gotta go. No other game moves you the same. Come on, Aussie, come on, Aussie, come on, Aussie. No other game moves you the same. It's in our blood, it's in our veins. There's no other game moves you the same.
This has been another presentation from Nine's Wide World of Sports.